friend of Lieutenant Governor Republican Peter Kinder. Peter Kinder served in the House of Representatives, but my mother, State Representative Betty Thompson, served there. And everyone knows is a very strong and progressive Democrat. But it's about people. It's about fairness. And ever since I've known Mr. Kinder, he has been fair, and he has been a friend to the urban centers throughout the state of Missouri. St. Louis in particular, and Kansas City. When there's a need, issues on the floor that were voted, that required support from Jefferson City for the inner cities and the city of St. Louis, Peter Kinder was there. He didn't just come into St. Louis for photo ops in a specific time. He has always been there. But more importantly to me, a lot of people say, well, you know, it's not personal, it's business. They make decisions sometimes, they want to try to make excuses for business versus personal. Well, I'm here to tell you that when it comes to politics, in my personal opinion, politics is personal. And it's personal to me because my mother spent her life in politics. When she retired, Peter Kinder was the first one to have a reception in her honor. As a Democrat, she has the support of Peter Kinder. When my brother was killed, he was the first person to contact my family to show the support for my brother who was slain in the city of St. Louis. Peter Kinder has always been a friend to the African American community. And for us today, with the unrest that have taken place, we saw the breakdown in the leadership that caused some of the destruction that took place throughout the community. Hopefully, while having a leader like Peter Kinder in the House of Representatives or representing the state of Missouri, these things will not take place, because we saw all across the country how embarrassed we were as citizens of the state of Missouri, the lack of leadership that took place during that period of time. Well, I'm here again as a friend to Peter Kinder to let everyone know that I'm throwing my support, and I'm here to introduce my personal friend, Mr. Peter Kinder. Thanks,
Tony. Thanks, Tony. And thanks, Mayor Knowles. Thanks to Mayor Reggie Jones, in whose beautiful city we gather at Delwood. Now, there needs to be a mild disclaimer here as to Mayor Reggie Jones and State Representative Courtney Curtis, who just showed up. Wave your hand over there, Courtney. They're here, they're my friends. Their presence does not necessarily constitute an endorsement across party lines. They are friends, like my friend, the Reverend Tommy Pearson, another state representative from this area, in whose church, the Greater St. Mark Church, I have worshiped with his congregation. And well, welcome on this toasty afternoon. Thank you all for coming out. No one not in my position today can imagine what it means to have so many people come out on the hottest day of the year so far. I'm not going to be too long, but I want to welcome you to this. I want to welcome you to a Republican campaign like no other. Grateful that everyone would come. We meet here in the Ferguson-Delwood area, and of course Ferguson became a byword for failure and lost hopes and dashed hopes and missed opportunities, and a months-long catastrophe that scarred the reputation of the St. Louis region, the metropolitan area, and the entire state of Missouri. It became, if you will, I believe, a metaphor for government failure. But I am here to tell you that we are witnessing the rebirth of Ferguson, we are witnessing the rebirth of Delwood and this whole part of North County, and we are all going to be a part of that renaissance and that rebirth. Because government failed so badly from and after the 9th of August, throughout August, the rest of the month, throughout September, and then again in November, we have a lot of credibility to regain in state government. Let's face it, the chief executive of Missouri state government let us all down. Yeah. So at the heart of my campaign today, I will offer to the people of Missouri over the next 16 months a new covenant. And at the heart of that new covenant is this pledge. No more Fergusons, never again. Never again. Never again will we allow our streets to be undefended and our businesses to be undefended. Never again will we turn over those streets to the criminals, the vandals, the looters, and those who throw firebombs. The damage was real. It was long-lasting. And I say never again. Never again will we send out first responders to do their dangerous work, having been told that they'll be defended, and then there's no defense at all for them. We cannot ask first responders to come out and undergo gunfire, gunshots like they did on the night of the 24th of November. But in the midst of tragedy, in the midst of adversity, we saw that we were drawn out the best, the very finest that we have in our people in the state of Missouri. And with that in mind, I would like to cite to you the example of Reverend Eddie Andrews and his wife Janice, and I just saw them come under this umbrella right here. Now, I had a bit of a telephone acquaintance with Janice Andrews before, but had never met them and never had the distinct pleasure of meeting them until I had lunch with them up here in Ferguson on Friday. And I sat down at the table and immediately knew that I was in the presence of two of the finest people I've ever known. Now, last year was a year of tremendous adversity for the Andrews. First of all, Janice lost her father early in the year. Her father was a minister, like her husband, was a minister of the Christian gospel. And he pastored churches in East St. Louis and throughout the Metro East area. If you want a lesson from the 25th chapter of the book of Matthew, there it is, the least of these. And so she suffered the loss of her father last year, only to have the devastation that came on the night of Monday, the 24th of November. You see, 3 years earlier, Janice had opened a shop called Hidden Treasures. Hidden Treasures was an antiques and collectibles shop and jewelry shop. She was next door to a Little Caesar's Pizza just up the road. They were firebombed. The place was burned. The whole strip center lost. And they woke up the next morning to the source of their livelihood in ashes, their dreams in ashes. 100% loss of the building and the inventory. This family of 5, they have 3 grown sons, all working in that business called Hidden Treasures, were reduced by hundreds of thousands of dollars in losses. The insurance payments covered maybe slightly over 10%. So that's their fate the last 10 months. But I want you to know they told me on Friday at lunch that just this last week, the walls started to go up on their business and they will rebuild. And before the end of this year, Hidden Treasures will open its doors again and they'll have a steady stream of income, and we should all patronize them and all the other business owners. If you're a Ferguson business owner, small or any kind of business owner or property owner, would you raise your hand, or here in Dellwood or Ferguson? Let's applaud all these people. There's one more part of the Reverend Eddie and Janice Andrews story that you should know, and they didn't tell me. But a friend of theirs told me that out of their drastically reduced circumstances, when they got the news, as we all did on the 17th of June, about the awful fate of 9 Christians at Bible study and prayer in Charleston, South Carolina, being murdered by a bigoted racist, they, out of their reduced circumstances, made their generous contribution to the Mother Emanuel